This is episode number 380 of the InnerFight podcast. We are back. This is the number one health and fitness show in the Middle East. Thanks a lot for tuning in, folks, and thanks a lot to our sponsors, Smith Street Paleo. We're still dishing it up. We're still giving you loads of freebies. Rate and review the podcast, and you will get your bag full. Andre's back from his long vacation, and he's brought with him a friend. Mate, tell us who this guy even is.
Today we have Nikolaj Rønnow from Copenhagen with us. He's one of my friends from back home. He also works for CrossFit HQ, and he's currently here.
That means we have to be on our best behavior.
Yes.
I love CrossFit!
And he's here to do a documentary or a little clip on Mohammed, one of my clients or one of the InnerFight members.
Absolutely.
Who has an absolute inspiring story.
Maybe we'll hit into that later in the show as well. Yeah, let us know exactly what's going on there.
Nikolaj, to the people who don't know you, why don't you talk to us about who you are, what you do, where you're from, everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
You've got it's a 40-minute AMRAP.
I got 40 minutes.
And go.
Yeah, so my name's Nikolaj. I'm
Put that microphone really close to you.
the only thing I couldn't do.
We briefed him really well.
Yeah, so my name's Nikolaj, and I work. I live in Copenhagen with my wife and 2 kids. We just moved north of Copenhagen. I work as a cameraman and a TV editor. And that's how I kind of got into. That's what I do on my day job. I work at the biggest sports channel in Denmark.
Wow.
Do the promos for the NFL and stuff in Denmark.
How did you get into that, mate?
He was a former NFL player, so...
No, that's just what I've always wanted to do, and then kind of self-taught, and then working nights at a TV station, and kind of getting into it, learning a little bit.
Getting into it is graft. It's hard work from the start, right?
It was different when I started about 10 to 15 years ago. Anyone couldn't just get a camera. Like now, everyone has a YouTube channel and a camera and all the equipment. And you can record 4K on your iPhone.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. Not that I'm that old.
Back in the day.
This guy.
10, 15 years old.
Yeah. You look super young.
No, so it's basically... I had a guy who taught me basically everything, who's now a boss at one of the TV stations. He just took me under his wing and told me how to edit, like how to do stuff, how to get a good story, how to... Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's experience, just learning, doing it over and over again and making mistakes, and then being able to look at your footage and say, well, kind of messed up there, I should do this better next time.
Yeah.
Right? And same with the stuff I do for CrossFit. Like each time, hopefully it gets a little bit better and better, and not just me, for everyone. Like look at the documentaries they're putting out now. It's ridiculous. And that's how I got into CrossFit, because I just started training myself and found it really interesting, and they had regionals in Copenhagen that year, and then I signed up as a volunteer, and my wife got really mad because you're gonna volunteer for 12 hours a day.
It's like, why are you not on the floor?
Yeah, why are you not working? And the camera guys working were some of my friends, and they were getting paid to do it.
Really?
They're not doing CrossFit. They just randomly been booked for this job. They didn't know what it was. So I was working as a volunteer, like bringing like batteries for the camera guys who I normally work with.
Wow.
Which was kind of weird.
Wow.
But then I met Tyson Aldroyd, who's in Copenhagen that year, and he's head of the media department and my boss. And yeah, we got to talking, and he let me do like a profile. He did let me do a workout demo. They did that. Remember that every day they had a new workout demo.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I did one of those, and then did the profiles for some of the Danish qualifiers for Games 2012.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then kind of just grew from there.
So what is your job for CrossFit? You said that you work in another company, but you sort of contract to CrossFit. So what's your role? Because CrossFit Media is huge now.
It's getting bigger and bigger.
Is it?
Yeah. It's I can't remember the specifics, but at the CrossFit Games this year, on the broadcast side, there were, I want to say, above 200 people contracted in. Yeah.
Wow.
They bring in the whole Monday Night Football team from the NFL.
Wow.
So there's basically like everyone from there, and
unbelievable.
It's an unbelievable setup. And then they have the whole different side where I mostly work, the like the documentary side, where we do these stories for the YouTube channel, and and those guys are just amazing.
Really?
Like the ones, my friend Heber Cannon, who did the Froning film, and they just all the stuff they do is like, it's so high end, at like a minimal of the cost compared to what else you see on Netflix.
Talk to us about that, because I think this is where CrossFit have been incredibly smart. You say that there's 200 plus people at the CrossFit Games in the media team, but on the grand scheme of things, mate, the content that they put out on a regular basis, the following that they have on those social platforms, they're actually probably spending almost a fraction of the amount that big brands are spending. So from a marketing perspective, give us your thoughts on like how CrossFit have gone about it and why they've gone about it in those ways.
Well, they've been very smart about it. They've been very like first movers in many ways. They're good at using all the tools at their disposal. Like they're good at doing Instagram stories, Facebook Lives, and figuring out how to enable athletes and like during the open. They're good at getting content that people want and making sure that content has a minimum quality. It's good.
Right.
So it's always good content they put out. They have their own studio in the office, which means they can, within the blink of an eye, they can like do a show and talk about recent subjects.
Yeah.
And they just perfected that. What they do, just doing it over and over, it keeps on getting better and better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're not spending as much money. However, they have been hiring more and more people. And that means, like, obviously they're spending more money, but that just goes as long as with this sport growing. And I don't know all the specifics, but this year last year they had the documentary on Netflix. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on Netflix again.
Wow.
And just that, and I can just see like the equipment they're using, the cameras they're using. I know the price tag on these cameras, and I can just see from year to year, like just doing better and better and more stuff, and which is great. Because
do you think like obviously CrossFit has been labeled, and I think if we're honest, we all love it, and I own an affiliate. It is very cult based. Do you think the social media side and the media side and the fact that videos go viral is because of that? When we have a cult, it's quite a close-knit community in a positive way. Do you think it's because of that sort of cult environment that we live in?
Well, I think CrossFit and CrossFit athletes in general are very good at following each other on social media, and it's a very closed circuit.
Yeah.
Which makes sure, so now everyone knows everything that's going on with everyone.
Yeah.
Which is good and bad, because
I was gonna say.
Sometimes you might maybe you should just be in your own world and not. Remember Scott Panchik said a couple of years ago he stopped following everyone on Instagram because he didn't want to get caught up in what everyone else is doing. Because it's so easy, because you basically have everyone's training program at full disposal. Just go to the Instagram story.
But from a spectator's point of view, that's like
you get
amazing. You know all inside info and like all the athletes, all the coaches, the gyms, like even gyms have Instagram profiles.
But also the top athletes are good at engaging their fans, and they're good at replying to Instagram messages. And you can actually write Matt Fraser and get a response.
Really?
Like you can't write LeBron James and get a response.
I was going to say, now we go to compare it to another sport.
That's true.
They're going to do nothing. Do you think that's because, LeBron James is probably like at the top end of the spectrum?
Sure, but write the worst guy at Cleveland Cavaliers. He's not going to reply you.
Really?
No. There's no way.
Sure. It's something quite special.
True.
Huh? Yeah.
And I mean, from a sponsor point of view, I think maybe it's because we're more desperate for sponsors in the sport, in the CrossFit, and therefore we do that extra little inch also to actually, reply and to help people and to answer them. I think there's two sides. Like there's the side of actually wanting to help, and the other side of like this can actually benefit me sponsor-wise and.
But I think the athletes also remember where they came from. They're still a part of this community, and that's what makes CrossFit so strong, is the community.
Yeah.
And they're still part of the community. Like, take Rich Froning owns the gym, Annie Thorisdottir owns the gym, and I remember I was training in Reykjavik with her, and then a class was going on. The coaches called in sick, but no one knew. So there's no one to teach the class. She was going to games 2 weeks later. We had to drop everything and teach a class because she's the owner.
Right.
So you wouldn't see that in other sports. You wouldn't see that sort of commitment to the overall image you're portraying.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's an image that the athletes put up. I mean, obviously, in any sport, there's good people, bad people. That's the way it is.
That's the way
in any way of life.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
But I think they're all very. From everyone I've met so far, has been very, very nice to me. And I know I have a camera pointed at them, so we've always talked about are they really that nice? But even when I turn off the camera, they're good people. And
what are the challenges of being the man behind the camera? Like when you're sorry, I'll frame that a little bit more narrow for you. When you're dealing with, like, it's your job to capture, in certain capacity, to capture footage of the top athletes.
Yeah.
And to be in their space. Because one thing that CrossFit's done really well is really get in the space, in that personal space.
And there's a line.
And there is a line.
Yeah,
so
there is a line.
How does that go? And what are the challenges there?
The line. I got to direct the behind the scenes of Meridian this year,
right?
And that was the biggest one I had to do yet. And I think one of the reasons Tyson, my boss, put me on that job is because he knows my line is closer than most people with the Meridian athletes,
right?
So I can kind of get a little bit closer because a guy, he's a good friend of mine, but Janikowski, he doesn't say much,
right?
And the closer you get to him, he kind of gets to talking, and that's one of the challenges. Like when is the work stop and when does the friendship start? And
right.
Like you kind of have to be objective. And like actually this year regionals was insane because my good friend Frederick, who I like visit every year in Iceland and train with, he had missed out on qualifying the past couple of years, and I kind of felt like if he didn't qualify this year, he was gonna
have a meltdown.
Yeah, or stop. I don't know. So at the end of event 5, it looked like he didn't make it. We all thought he wouldn't have made it. So my camera was on him for the sheer purpose of getting his reaction when he did not qualify. So I was just, he was lying on the floor crying, and I was just waiting for him. Because that was we knew who the other guy was, and Lucas Hochberg was going to qualify. He's also a friend. So, and then the other camera guy had focus on him. So I was just waiting for the reaction when they called out Lucas's name to see Frederick's finally, okay, I did not make it. He did make it by a point or two.
Yeah.
And I started filming him, and then super happy, obviously, for him. Sad for Lucas, but it's always someone has to lose.
Yeah.
And then I realized, well, this is not my job. I have to get to Lucas now because my job is follow the whoever lost.
Yeah, that's the emotion you're trying to capture.
And, like running after him, and like Lucas is a big dude.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to stay away from
pissing him off.
Yeah, he used to be an MMA fighter or something like before CrossFit.
How do you get that though? Like, I guess what you've just said is something super cool, because when someone's first, they're first, and there's going to be a camera on them. But the emotion and the interesting part of the film is that emotion in the guy that's just made it or just missed out.
There's nothing interesting in the European region about Björkvin because he is the best in the Meridian region.
Right.
And I give me an argument why he's not, I'll listen, but I don't agree with you.
Yeah, right.
He is the best.
Yeah.
So he's not interesting because going into regionals, he knew he was going to qualify.
It's not interesting.
No, but it is interesting. But
we'll use that to promote this podcast. No, we won't, mate.
But the interesting part comes further down the leaderboard, like with Jason Smith, Adrian Mundweil, Phil Heske, Lucas Esslinger, Frederick, Högberg, all those guys. Those are the guys in this big dogfight fighting for that. So you kind of have to give enough attention to tell the story about who won.
Yeah.
Kristen Holter won on the women's side. But again, on the women's side, it was difficult because there were like 5 former Games athletes. I'm including Jamie Green in this because she is a Games athlete who just hadn't been to the CrossFit Games. But they're down to the 6th spot, and that was the Greek girl, Anna Frakow.
Yeah.
There's such a big gap from her to whoever was in 5th place. That was Turi Helgadottir, who had a rough weekend.
This guy knows everything.
Everything about everyone.
Yeah. This is quite insane.
No, but so that story wasn't as interesting as the whole battle for 5th on the men's side.
Yeah, right.
This is their whole life, their whole season in a blink of an eye. Like, how fast can you do 20 burpees, and then also, you didn't make it. Okay, good. Well, next year.
Do you manage all the other filmmakers or photographers on the floor? How do you know, like, all right, my responsibility is, Frederick this weekend, or is my responsibility Björkvin, or...
But this year, luckily Tyson was there as well, so he was helping me out, and then each night we would kind of talk about what are the stories and who are going, like who's winning, who should we pay a little bit more attention to. And I've always talk and use like Rory McKernan for sparring, and we email back and forth before, and like what does he think is a good angle. But this year I made a lot of mistakes that I'm like afterwards reflected on. I should have paid more attention to this and this.
I guess it's always difficult.
But like, so I have there was two camera guys on the floor who's running around. Those are the guys doing stuff for the Netflix documentary, and that stuff. Yeah, the stuff you've seen from like the Fittest on Earth film. So I get all their footage, and they have everything. And then I add in my stuff. But basically, the most important stuff I did was like standing at the finish line, like basically you just done the worst workout of your life, and then how was that?
In your face.
But they're good about it.
What's the worst reaction you've had?
I don't think anyone has given me any.
Mate, come
but
on. Someone's tried to just...
That was... what was the... Event 3, I think. What was the one where Janikowski... He had like ups and downs. Probably Event 3. On the muscle-ups, he didn't do well.
Right.
So, and I got the reactions I wanted from the ones I wanted. I looked around at Jana because he had a bad workout. And I needed him to address this. Like, now you dropped into 7th place. Came down to the athlete area where he was like cooling down. Walked over with the camera. He just stared like that cold finish there. Remember Ivan Drago from Rocky movies?
Ivan Drago.
Yeah.
Yes.
He just looked at me. Go away.
Really?
Like, all right. I'm going away.
I'm going away.
Yeah. But then he went out and set a world record on Event 4, and he was like...
he's like, come over. You can come and talk to me.
Yeah.
Mate, let's jump into... I mean, it's super interesting. I think we can make a whole show about that sort of behind-the-scenes stuff, because it's obviously an incredible job you do, and hats off, to what you guys are doing. The content's awesome. Everyone loves to watch it. The cult's following, and well done. Yeah. Let's jump into what you're doing in Dubai, because this is probably something that we never... I mean, I guess you don't really plan for something like this when we started the journey, so... Tell us your side of why you're here, and then let us jump back on it.
Well, CrossFit has kind of two sides to the media department. There's the CrossFit Games and the season, and that's all very interesting and cool. But there's also the 80%, as you said, right?
Yeah.
The everyday people doing CrossFit, changing lives, becoming healthy, and using CrossFit as a training methodology to get healthier.
Yeah.
They don't care about... Well, they might like the CrossFit Games, but they're not going to the CrossFit Games ever. Unless they buy a ticket. But it's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've been looking, and my boss Tyson said he wanted me to find more of a lifestyle piece for my neck of the woods, which I guess Dubai is my neck of the woods. It's like 4,000 miles. I don't know. Yeah. No, but it's only 6-hour flight, so it's close enough.
Yeah.
And then obviously I'm following Andre on social media, and then I knew he had some different clients with struggling with obesity.
Yeah.
But I hadn't really found like the story I wanted to do. And all of a sudden he posted like 3 weeks back. He posted about Mohammed, who's now been working with him for a year. And then I emailed HQ and said, hey, I think this is the one. Like, this is the one we should do. Told him Andre's story and Mohammed what I could read, and I said, like, there's some massive issues going on in the UAE about obesity, and it's getting better, but there's a lot of stuff to tell there, which goes well in the lines of what they're posting and what they're talking a lot about obesity, about type 2 diabetes, and all these lifestyle diseases. So, and I got an immediate response, yes, this is a good one. And we started setting up, like, talking all the details, and like, what should it be, how long should it be, and then before I knew it, was like booking a plane to Dubai. And
before I knew it, I met him in the plane.
That's quite random as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
What? I'll go back. I'll say that again. When you're used to filming all that other stuff that we've been talking about, as an individual who loves what you do, how does this variation and this fit with like Mohammed and losing a load of weight, like how does that motivate you?
I get what you're saying, because Mohammed's not going to put up a 300-pound snatch. It's from a athlete perspective, it's very unimpressive what he's doing.
Yeah.
But it's, as we talked about, it's equally impressive because you have to look at the person doing it.
Yeah.
And I see the effort he's putting in, and sure, it's easy to get excited about the regionals of the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
But that's a spearhead. That's the top of the iceberg.
It's like that achievement is not going to make their life a lot better.
No.
Yeah.
And it's all fun and great, and I'm super inspired by those athletes.
Yeah.
But also, people just turning their life around. It's equally inspiring.
Yeah.
There is some challenges, however, to making it look as cool as
This is what I'm interested to hear. Like,
because he's standing there, he's doing step ups and what else was he doing?
Sleds and all kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but I know what you mean.
But it's not as explosive, and he's not moving around, walking on his hands, and you kind of want to portray what he's doing and kind of make it look cool. I haven't seen my footage yet, so I have no idea if I succeeded. But
you have a few more days.
Yeah, I think it. But actually, I've been really inspired about it. And also just being in a different scenic. I try to move as much of the recordings outside, just to show, like, him walking out in the street with a sled or a prowler. It is different. It is very different, and the questions are different. We're not going to talk about his. We'll talk a little bit about his nutrition, like you try and eat healthy, but we don't go into macronutrients and
because that's not what got him where he is.
No,
either.
And that's not. That's way too soon for him.
Yeah.
And he was doing clean and jerks today. So you do a 15 kilo barbell. Andre said, came over. I was like, that's a 20 kilo barbell. I don't know the difference. Well, it's you don't know the difference? Like, how do you? But crazy. It's just that's his world.
How do you think a video like that compared with a video of some top athlete doing some crazy stuff, walking in the hands, doing backflips, and like the Alex Smith combo, like ring muscle ups into chest pump, bar muscle ups, I don't know what. Compare like impact wise on the CrossFit community. How much attention does a video like that get compared to a cool entertaining video?
I know from the guys in Santa Cruz at CrossFit HQ, it gets more. They are very very interested in this, and that's why they wanted to. They're not going to send me to Dubai to do an interview with top games athletes or whatever. We've seen that, and we're going to continue to see that because it's important as part of the sport. But the sport, CrossFit and CrossFit Games are not the same. That's the sport of CrossFit. But they're very. It gets a lot of attention, but obviously for the everyday viewer, someone might just say, "No, I don't care about this story." But hopefully people will tune in, and since it's in a new region, and like hopefully it'll get a little bit more traction from the European audience, but because this region hasn't been featured in anything.
It's the Africa region, except we're not in Africa.
No, but it's the thing is, it's a company based in Santa Cruz in California, and we're only like a handful of videographers spread out over the world. So it's difficult for us to cover this big area, and it's difficult for CrossFit to know everything that's going on. That's why they always want me to report in if I hear something, see something, and they can kind of dive into it and see, okay, is this interesting? Should we jump into it? And
Andre, do you want to give a little bit of backstory on Mohammed? Because we're speaking about this guy called Mohammed. No one really knows who he is, what he's done, but Nikolaj is here making a film about him. Just give us a little rundown on Mohammed, what he's done, and why he's important in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, so we got introduced to Mohammed about 1 year ago, you and me. It was one of our clients' brother. Mohammed came in and he weighed 226 kilos. And today he weighs 135 kilos. He's been losing 91 kilos using the approach of functional training and healthy habits such as eating better and sleeping better. Incredible. And both you and me and some of the other coaches have been helping out, both motivating him to train more, to eat better, to sleep better, and also on a personal perspective, like his daily habits of, maybe being able to do more active stuff instead of sitting in front of the computer, going for a walk in the mall with his friends. It's been, everything from training and nutrition to mental health to, emotional stuff. It's just been an incredible
journey.
Yeah, well-rounded journey where both, I think, we have been challenged just as much as he's been challenged, almost like how to help somebody lose that much weight and creativity with the exercises, simply because, I mean, the guy couldn't walk 50 meters without stopping and without having pain in the knees.
Yeah.
How do you change that?
Yeah.
Like,
is it what when you see something like that, mate? Because we're back to what we're talking about in media. Like, you know, everyone wants to work with the top guys. Everyone wants to say that they coach or that they're a nutritionist for this athlete or that games athlete. But you've sort of taken that and gone, I don't care. I'll take this guy from 200 plus kilos. I'll work with him 4 times a week. Like 4 times a week for 52 weeks. You've invested like man hours in that, plus all the emotional stuff outside of it. I'm sure you get calls at ridiculous hours like, should I eat this burger? You know what I mean? It's like, no, brother.
We've had those talks.
Like, what's your motivation in that, mate? Because I think that's quite interesting as well.
I mean, the whole motivation behind coaching is essentially making a difference in other people's lives, simply from seeing what kind of difference sports and health has made in my own life. And helping Muhammad has been, I mean, probably the most incredible experience of all my coaching years combined, because I can see how much on an individual matter you can help somebody change their life completely 180. Like going from potentially dying young from overweight to being able to, you know, wear his own shoes, get a job, like you know, like moving out. Like there's so many things involved when it just comes to losing weight. Like the gains is not just aesthetics. It's not just getting slimmer. Like all that comes with it, and being luckily a part of that and helping him with what I know, and also from the other coaches and the whole InnerFight crew. It's just, I think it's probably one of the most fulfilling thing a human being can achieve.
Absolutely. Helping others. Very cool. We look forward to this documentary, and hopefully, I think one of the biggest things as well is that, like, hopefully it can inspire. I mean, when you look at it, Nikolaj, what's your biggest motivation for making this?
Money. No.
No. I get paid. I get laid.
No,
we'll cut that
one. It goes along the lines of what Andre said.
Yeah.
Like, this was a story that there's plenty of weight loss stories out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what it was, but it just felt like the whole thing combined, like being in I guess a difficult region in terms of obesity. You said it was the highest.
It's the Middle East.
Yeah.
It's just retardedly high.
And the whole story, like, he has a sister who owns a box, and you're still 500 pounds. Like, how did that come about? And like, and also, where did that willpower come from? Just to change it 4 times a week and be consistent with it.
Yeah.
So my motivation is to tell the story and do to make sure that it gets told in the right way and portrayed in the right way, but also tell the difficult story about, like, dude, you're a couple of years away from passing. Had you not changed your life, like you said in our interview. And I feel like that's important to say. It's like, this is serious. This is not just, wow, he made it, that's great. But
I remember, like, Marcus just coming down and telling him, you are going to die unless you get your crap together. It's like, I was just sitting there, just arrived. Like,
don't you think that's a bit? Yeah, this guy's been here like 2 weeks. He's like, this is how my new boss speaks to our new clients. Yeah. Sweet.
Don't worry, he's just kidding you. You will make it.
But in all honesty, if just one person or two people look at it and just change something, fine. I've come to something. I remember in the beginning when I started doing CrossFit, a lot of people was like, "Oh, you always post about it on Facebook or check in at the gym." Like, yeah, but I caught your attention, didn't I?
Yeah.
So, and people at work are always making fun, like at the buffet at work. Oh, you need extra protein, and
no, I'm jacked enough, bro.
Yeah, making fun of it, and I was like, but then in a more quiet moment, they come ask me about nutrition advice, and they want to know stuff.
So, how much protein do you actually have each day?
I'm fine with people making fun of, because it is a bit of a geeky sport.
Yeah, it is.
You get super into it, and but at the end of the day, if you change a little bit, like, obviously you work in at a gym and having your own gym, you change a lot of lives on a regular basis. But if we can help change a little bit through the CrossFit Media, that's great. And that's what they want us to do, and put more focus on that and what the affiliates around the world are doing, because it's not just here, it's every affiliate doing
absolutely
it, and
it's no different.
But there's just a few extraordinary stories out there, and lucky.
I mean, you guys roll like as the media team is actually like crazy big, because the reach you can get, like let's say we can influence 200 people, maybe more, like just through the gym, 300, whatever, through a story like from a CrossFit HQ, those kind of things, you're tapping into like potentially 1 million people or numbers around that. Like that is crazy.
And some of the stories they've put out recently, they're trying to make a theme, and right now it's a lot about the like diabetes and obesity, and because they want to put a lot of focus on that, and I get that, because nutrition has maybe not enough people remembering nutrition and how important it is. So it's good they're putting a lot of focus back on that. And there's a couple of good stories out there by, like my one of my co-workers, Ross Coughlin, and he's in Wales, and he's doing the same stuff, like traveling around doing stories.
That's really good.
But then we also go to the CrossFit Games, and then it's filming all the top athletes, and that's equally fun.
I'm sure. Mate, let's finish up with about 10 minutes or so on that. There's obviously, I guess, anyone that has been in CrossFit and sort of has access to someone who has an opinion on CrossFit, never mind someone in the media, is always like, where's CrossFit going? What's happening next? It's like, it's like someone outside of Castro knows something, whereas I think most of it's just opinions. However, let's get your opinion. There's been a lot of changes to the structure of the CrossFit Games for the next season. As you said, you're super close to a lot of the athletes in Europe. Tell us a little bit about those changes, what you think is going to be the impact, and also maybe some of the feelings that you gather from the athletes as to their feelings towards the changes. Let's
first of all, I'm just going to say, like, we in the media department sometimes know a lot less than people think we know. Like, I work for CrossFit. I think regionals is going to be in Copenhagen, but no one. That's just my guessing. I know the regionals director very well. He won't tell me.
Really?
Like the worst.
We could go out for drinks or something, but he wouldn't tell me.
Good. How hush it is.
And they keep stuff. I have no idea how they're doing it, because like we were at the CrossFit Games, and all of a sudden they built a big obstacle course. It wasn't there the day before.
Really?
Like, how did that happen? The rope team, they're just working through the night, and But the new structure, it's interesting. I think a lot of people has been talking about Europe should have more spots,
right?
And I guess they did I don't know. I'm just guessing here. They did the analysis and say, well, at the end of the day, it's correct. There should be more. And now I'm saying Europe, it's actually the Meridian. They should have more spots, and with the talent pool here, it kind of made sense to combine regions and also show a bit of love to South America. Only one spot, but still. So I think it's going to be in some of it is going to change a lot. Like Northern Europe, you're gonna see 2 rookies, and I can say that if no one moves regions, you're gonna see 2 rookies, because there are only 3 prior Games athletes in the region on the male side.
And who is your call for those 2 guys to be?
That's saying the 3 guys are going to make it.
The
top 3. So if Björkvin, Lucas, and Frederick, who are the 3 Games veterans, makes it back, like, people could go team, could get injured and stuff. I know one guy who's moving. He hasn't said it officially yet, so I'm going to let him. I'm going to.
Let's not compromise your position.
No, I'm going to be nice to him and not say his name, but he's going to move region, so he's going to take 1 spot, and then I'm going to go with a Swedish guy, Victor Långsved. He's been around for quite a bit, and
consistent guy.
Yeah, he's been doing better and better, and he's consistently been in like top 10, top 12. I think this year he took 7.
Okay.
And he's training a lot with
bubble athlete.
He reminds me a lot of Lucas Hochberg, and he's pretty well rounded, very powerful. I could see him taking one of the spots, but with this new format, it could be someone completely new, or
another Games veteran.
Or Jani Koski could go back to Finland, and then he's my pick.
What's your, just to get your opinion? We have a lot of listeners from this region. What's your opinion on the amount of people, top level athletes, that are moving to this region?
Had that not happened, you would not have divided Meridian into two. That's my honest opinion. Because if we're just talking people from the Emirates and from Africa, there's only been one qualifier ever, and that's Jason Smith, right?
Yeah.
So obviously it's going to help grow the region and grow the athletes there, but you need those top athletes to help grow. And like, I don't know how it's been. I don't live here on a daily basis, but it feels like they have helped put more focus on the region, and people now know Dubai and Abu Dhabi a lot better.
Yeah, I guess CrossFit people do.
Yeah,
it's because it's interesting, because we've seen that, and we now see the potential of more people from the UAE. There's a potential that more people will be at the games.
Yeah,
but in a really straightforward and honest way, I don't think we see a massive impact as business owners.
No.
Like, there's just, no one...
Because they don't know. They don't really care,
I don't think they care. No, we spoke about this earlier, didn't we? They just don't give a shit. And I don't blame them either.
No.
Like, I think it's good that they don't care.
Yeah,
in a nice way. Like, it's like, it's a reminder that CrossFit is a tight community.
Yeah.
That's what makes it good. And it's also a reminder, and I think this is what you said before as well, like, there's a sport, and then it's a lifestyle. It's general physical preparedness.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I guess a lot of people also move down here because it's a unique opportunity. Like, me and Andre are from Copenhagen. It's cold. Like, you're from Britain.
Yeah.
You know rain.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. And if you can come down here and being a games athlete, and you can train 2 times a day and not worry too much about your finances, and because you wouldn't have those opportunities in Scandinavia. There's no.
Sure. It's a lot harder.
Yeah, it would be a lot harder, and it's only for a very select few. Like,
literally.
So coming down here and enjoying the sun and being outside, it's probably, maybe it's not for everyone, and the lifestyle is different, the culture is different. You have to do stuff very differently.
Yeah.
And
he's noticed. He's been here 24 hours. He knows what's
up. But I like that, though. People are very respectful.
Yep.
And I guess if you're not respectful, it kind of backfires.
It's quite simple.
That's very long.
No,
mate. Let's look forward to you personally for the next 12 months. We're almost at the end of 2017. Share with us a couple of your goals professionally, and also as you work out as an athlete. What's going to happen for you in 2018, so we can wish you luck on those?
Well, now I want to finish this project very well, and hopefully turns out well in the end of January, and the people at HQ are happy.
Yeah.
And because it's always like that, then you get your next project.
Right.
And then I want to do the Meridian behind the scenes again. We haven't really talked about that yet, but it went well last year. So.
All right.
And then get back to Madison next year, I guess.
Yeah. Where do you see, what's the route for you within CrossFit Media? Go on, be bullish, mate. Tell your boss on here that you're going to have his job within 6 months.
No, I think at one stage I wanted to move out to California, and that'd be great. But I think it has a strength being in a different region,
I think so,
He's giving me more and more responsibilities and bigger opportunities. So awesome. I think I'm on the right path in that, and
awesome.
It's a cool job. And then,
as an athlete, goals for 2018?
Well, the Open is around the corner.
You give that a shot every year, do you?
Yeah, I turned 35 last year, so puts me in a different category, which is fun. Which is
lucky I pulled out that category now.
More equal playing field. It's no fun comparing yourself to guys like Andre. And
mate, I've had it for way too long.
Yeah. So I'll be doing that, and hopefully go well.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
Dre, anything else?
Well, there's quite a lot of things I would like to talk about. We're sort of running out of time. I want to ask one thing.
Yeah.
I know you've been super close with many of the top athletes in the behind the scenes and in CrossFit. And I think one thing we see across the line is that everyone trains super hard, everyone has a great program, all these kind of things. But what is it that separates people? What are those final 10% that you have seen from a spectator, from a friend, from a team manager of a former games team, those kind of things.
It's like you say, it's the 10% because everyone's training 5 days a week, 1 recovery session, 1 day off, 2 sessions a day. It's all the same. They're all using Train Think Tank or whatever they're using. It's Invictus are built by Bergeron.
Yeah.
You can't out-train people. Those days are over.
Yeah.
Because everyone's more or less professional. So it's the small stuff. Do you listen to your body? Do you train smarter? And I know it's a cliche to train smarter, not harder, but it's the small stuff now, and it's the mental game of because. Like the last workout at regionals, it's doing assault bike and then burpees as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Like, can you just go a little faster? Do you make sure to the time you spend in the gym are you doing the program, or are you like looking at the program, trying to understand the program, questioning the program, and being smart about it? Like constantly having a back and forth with your coach. Some people are just like genetic freaks and like can do whatever. Like there's no way Froning wouldn't have won those years. He's just better. Like whatever program he would have done.
Exactly.
So it's a small percentage, but I see a lot of people who train 2 times a day, who maybe are just around regionals level, or just below regionals level, who are not doing the last 10%.
Okay.
They're not eating smart.
Eating smart.
They're not eating smart.
So the biggest thing is they're not eating smart.
No.
If you have a recommendation for any popular athletes, including myself and
you
a
are
lot of
eating,
others,
but you are eating smart, and
I've started to eat smart.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're a good rule is if you're in doubt if this is good for you or bad for you, it's probably bad for you.
Yeah,
like most of the time and you see a lot of people who they're focused on I want to get this and this on my snatch, and I want to focus like sheely on my engine now, or stop doing that, because it's not. it's a year-round thing, and you have to be. You can't say I'm not focused a lot of CrossFit in the winter. No, you have to do all the time.
Yeah, periodization doesn't really 100% work in this sport.
You have to. The baseline has to be the whole time, and seek out people that are smarter than you. Like you ask me if I have a program. No, my program is always whenever I go in a session, I always do something I'm bad at, and if I have an opportunity, I always screw the program. If I have an opportunity to train with someone who's better than me, I always do whatever they're doing. Yeah. Because, like yesterday, Frederick was at the gym. I just did whatever he was doing. Yeah. Because training one-on-one with a coach who's a games athlete, that beats any program. Yeah. For a guy like me, at least. There's so many small things you can tweak, and you can't train that yourself.
No.
And admit there's people that are smarter than you.
Yeah.
And that can be hard for a lot of egos.
I think that's one of the hardest things that I see in top-level athletes, in inverted commas or whatever, they know it all, they've done it all. Actually, the best athletes right now are the ones that have said, actually, I don't know it all, and he's actually really smart in his field, help me. He's really smart in it, and they're the best athletes, for sure.
Matt Fraser was running with the junior high school running club. He came dead last every session. Yeah. He said that on a show, and it's like, that has to be very humbling. You're the fittest man on earth, probably going to be it again, and you're running with these kids and they're just going to kill you. Yeah. Just admit that, I'm not the best at running. Well, now he is the best at running. Yeah,
because he got better.
Yeah, and he just admitted it and
went and sorted it out.
But you still see a lot of egos and people not willing to change a lot of stuff.
That's CrossFit. I think it's going to continue like that forever. That's sport. Mate. Super awesome to have you on the show. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for what you're doing for Mohammed. It comes from a really nice place, just to try and make everyone better. That's what we're doing as well. So we appreciate that, and hopefully we'll see you again soon in Dubai.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.